Welcome back to France 24. You're watching live from Paris, and it's time for Media Watch now. James Creedon is here, and we're going to start this evening with a look at the developments on the News of the World phone hacking scandal.
Right.
More developments.
Well, how can you have a slot called Media Watch and not talk about this story? I mean, the thing is, the developments at the moment are it's a drip of arrests and other personalities coming into the fray. So just to very quickly show what The Guardian, which of course has been on a crusade on this story for years, they were it's the newspaper that broke the Millie Dowler hacking detail, which set off the chain of events in the last few weeks, which has seen this story take on such a scale. So anyway, phone hacking scandal. News of the World executive Stuart Kuttner bailed after arrest. Now, he was arrested today. He becomes the 11th person in Operation Weeting, which is the police investigation into phone hacking by News of the World and other newspapers, to be arrested just weeks after Rebekah Brooks, the former head of News International. So, look, ongoing story. They have a profile on him in the paper as well. Stuart Kuttner, who was the managing editor of the paper at the time. Rebekah Brooks, or Rebekah Wade, as she was called then, was the editor of News of the World, now shut down. And also, another detail in that story, the protester who threw a foam pie at Rupert Murdoch 2 weeks ago got 6 weeks in jail. Now
6 weeks in jail. That'll make you think twice before throwing a phone pie, won't it?
And I'd imagine that's what the judge had in mind, keeping people away from Parliament with with foam pies.
Yeah.
I thought the judge's or his lawyer's words of defence were a little bit odd, though. Slapstick and throwing pies date back to the 1900s as a recognised form of protest. The 1900s was 11 years ago. It's not exactly historical.
Yeah, it's not exactly that long.
Anyway, we'll move on to this, I suppose, a story that's getting a lot more attention in the last couple of weeks. That's Anders Breivik, the Norwegian guy responsible for that awful killing spree, 68 people dead.
Yeah.
Now,
so what's this about? A film maybe inspiring him to do what he did?
Right. Well, he basically, this manifesto, which he put up online, 1,500 page manifesto, mentioned a lot of different people. In particular, it mentioned a foreign policy journalist by the name of Philip Longman. Now, he basically was cited by Breivik in his manifesto. He's written extensively on global demographics, a subject which Breivik was interested in because of the diminishing population of white Nordic people and the immigration of people from the south, all of that. In any case, because he was quoted, he went on to read the 1,500-page document, which is probably pretty tough reading, I'd imagine, at times. And he points out today the contradictions in the man that is Breivik in foreign policy. He says, how can you classify him? Is he a Christian terrorist? Yet he talks about how he wants science to take precedence over religion. Is he a fascist? Yet he was critical of the Nazis. The guy defies comprehension. It's very difficult to classify him. And he says there's only 2 lessons he took away from reading this manifesto. Lesson number 1, technology isolates individuals within bubbles of virtual reality which can wreak havoc. Lesson number 2, societies where demographics are in decline are potentially dangerous because people might fear of being outbred or outrun by others, and this can awaken reactionary sentiment. So he's one guy trying to distance himself from Breivik. The other is Lars van Trier, who spoke to the Danish magazine Politiken about speculation that his film Dogville, the very final scene of that, shows a scene.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I looked at the final scene, and we do have clips of it, where Nicole Kidman basically decides that the solution to her problem, she is kind of seen as an outsider and enslaved by a town in this film, is to kill everybody. And there are striking similarities between that. I'm not sure if we should have the pictures of it, but in any case, it's worth checking out that final scene because some say that there could be some inspiration there by what happened. And indeed, Lars van Trier said that if there's any truth in that, he would regret having made that film. But there's one other set of pictures I want to show before we finish.
Yeah, is this about the mayor?
The mayor of Vilnius.
Yes,
in Lithuania.
Show us.
Crazy stuff. And now, we all, in Paris anyway, certainly, if you're trying to cycle your bike down a cycling path, you'll often find cars parked in your way. It's very irritating.
So annoying.
So annoying, and it's a problem all over the world. What did the mayor of Vilnius decide to do to resolve this problem? He got on a tank and he squashed a Mercedes-Benz to bits as a means of sending a very muscular message to the public to not park their Mercedes in cycling lanes.
Can you imagine if people actually, if we did that here?
Well, you know, I would say Bertrand Delanoë, mayor of Paris, you should get on your tank because it's something that I personally find irritating. But
forget your high horse, get on your tank.
Right, might be a bit excessive, but you know,
okay.
I appreciate it.
James, thank you so much for tonight's Media Watch. Thanks for joining us. Well, that was Media Watch. Coming up shortly, we've got some sports news for you. Ketan Gurjasvani will be here with all the latest, so don't go away.